Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Mark Hobb, and it is my honor to serve our Dean and faculty as the Department Head of Food, Nutrition, Dietetics, and Health, and we welcome you to the 45th Grace Shugart Lecture, presented by our esteemed guest, Donna Martin. We're very honored to have some special guests in attendance, and Jeff Shugart is on his way. We'll introduce him, I think, at the end as he walks in. We have the Dean of Human Ecology, Dr. John Buckwalter, with us, Dean of the Graduate School. I saw Dean Shanklin walk in. Thank you for your attendance. We also want to recognize our faculty and staff. Would our current and emeriti faculty and staff please stand or raise your hand to be recognized? Don't be bashful. Thank you. This is a very special event, and it could not occur without dedication from passionate people to make it a success. Thus, we owe special thanks to the 2019 Grace Shugart Lecture Series Planning Committee, which consists of Dr. Mary Molt, Dr. Kevin Sauer, who chaired it, Dr. Amber Howells, Ms. Erica Linshield, and Ms. Karen Rogers. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. As you noticed when you came in, you noticed some students, so we're also truly grateful for the generous help of our numerous students, staff members, who volunteered their valuable time to make this event happen. So I want to give you a round of applause too. Thank you. Grace Shugart served as the national president of the American Dietetics Association and was instrumental in helping develop our nation's first coordinated undergraduate dietetics program to educate students in a generalist program. The supervised practice program that Ms. Shugart championed then continues today. One of Ms. Shugart's passions was to provide high-quality, unique learning opportunities for students and faculty. A key means of accomplishing this was to invite respected leaders in the profession to our campus to share their experiences and knowledge. Her passion to create these learning opportunities is why we are here today. Donna Martin earned her bachelor's degree from the University of Georgia and her master's degree from the University of Alabama, Birmingham, with an education specialist doctorate from Augusta State University. Donna is the director of the Burt County School Nutrition Program in Augusta, Georgia. She gained national attention when her valuable work was praised by the former First Lady Michelle Obama and TV personality Al Roker. They visited her school district to help start a school garden project. The success of this opportunity led to an invitation to visit the White House and assist Michelle Obama in her capstone child nutrition program. Through her efforts, Donna's home state of Georgia was awarded the Golden Radish Award for significant farm-to-school movement. Other professional accolades and accomplishments Donna Martin has attained include earning the recognized Young Dietitian of the Year and the Outstanding Dietitian of the Year from the Georgia Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the Excellence in Practice Award from the School Nutrition Services Dietetics Practice Group, and the Academy Foundation's Judy Ford Stokes Award for Innovation in Administrative Dietetics. Donna also generously served as the Electronic Communications Chair and newsletter for the School Nutrition Services Dietetics Practice Group. She served a local organization as a member of the Academy's House of Delegates and was a Board of Directors member of the School Nutrition Association Foundation. Additional professional honors include being elected by her peers to serve as the President of the Academy. In 2017 as the current past president of the national organization. Given her outstanding credentials and accomplishments, it is a tremendous honor and a great pleasure to introduce our 45th Shugart Lecture Series presenter, Donna Martin.
Well, I am honored and humbled to be here today. The history at Kansas State is so unbelievable. And even though I'm a red and black person, I wore purple yesterday and today, and I'm proud to be wearing purple. When I think of the Carol Shanklins and the Deb Cantors and the Kevin Sowers and Dr. Molt and all the people that have gone before me, the textbooks that I have used that came out of Kansas State, I am truly humbled and honored to be here. So I'm excited to talk about a subject that I'm very, very passionate about. And I think what's interesting about the subject is it's titled about schools, but this is something that you can actually use what I'm talking about to start a farm to hospital program, a farm to nursing home program, a farm to restaurant program, a farm to supermarket program. So all the things that I'm going to talk about today are things that you can use in lots of different opportunities that will come your way or may already have come your way. So I want to thank Dr. Sauer for having faith in inviting me to come today in particular. So I want to tell you a little bit about the district that I come from. I live in Augusta, Georgia, which is the county right above the Yellow County, and we are having that little golf tournament this week in our town. We have 40,000 people invade, and everybody wears green. And so I'm kind of glad to be out of the hoopla and here spending some time with you. But I work in Burke County, which is a large rural district, 836 square miles of nothing, absolutely nothing. It's a total food desert. We have about 11,000 people that live in a little city, and then the other 11,000 people are spread out all over the countryside. We have a high unemployment rate. We have all of our children eat at what we say no cost. I hate the word eating free. I much prefer to say they eat at no cost. So we serve breakfast, lunch, after school snack, supper. We do the fresh fruit and vegetable grant, and we do summer feeding. Our children have a high food insecurity rate, and we do everything we can to make sure they are ready to learn. That is my job, to provide kids to the teachers ready to learn. So in our breakfast program, we have 71.3% participation and 86.3% in lunch, which I think is pretty outstanding. So people that tell you that kids do not eat school lunch, Cheryl Johnson, where are you? That is a wrong statement. Is that not right? And I'm so honored to have her, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about her later on in the talk. So I want to talk a little bit about the case of farm to school. We call it a win-win-win. It is a win for the students because that food tastes so much better. 24 hours from the farm to the table, it doesn't get any fresher than that. And when you can get kids to eat vegetables because they taste so good, my job is done as a dietitian. It's a win for the farmers because my farmers, they grow soybeans and corn and wheat and cotton just like they do in this area. And they had all these fields and they said, we have room to grow stuff, but we don't really have a market for them. So to find a market for the farmers where they know that I'm going to buy their product and they can sell it. One of my farmers loves to show off his white new van, and he says, Donna Martin bought me that van. And I keep going, please don't tell everybody that. I don't want everybody to think I bought that van. But he has made so much money on farm to school that he could buy himself a new van. It's a win for the community because last year we kept over $200,000 of farm to school money in our community. And I tell you, when I do articles and stuff in the newspaper, the community is so excited about us doing farm to school. And when I see people, they tell me, I'm so proud that you're doing farm to school. And the farmers say it gives them a real sense of pride that they're feeding kids and feeding their grandchildren and their neighbors' children. So I love to say it is a win-win-win. So what are the advantages of farm to school? We certainly hear a lot about our carbon footprint, and there's no doubt that when the farmers drive 10 miles to deliver the food to my schools versus 3,000 miles, or it comes from Mexico or something like that, that we are lowering our carbon footprint. We certainly are enriching our local community and our local dollars that stay. And so once we start our farm to school program, the hospitals are now buying the same products. The grocery stores are buying it, the nursing homes are buying it, and even the restaurants in town are using our farmers. So their business has just exploded. Definitely, I don't need to tell anybody in this room how much better the food tastes. And when we have people come and they eat our cabbage and they go, I don't like cabbage, and I say, you will like our cabbage. Our cabbage is so dark green and rich, it looks like turnip greens because they let it get fully mature, they cut it and they bring it and we cook it and they go, oh my gosh, this is really good, instead of the white pale cabbage. Ag education for students and staff. Kids nowadays, where do they think food comes from? The grocery store. We don't need farmers. It comes from the grocery store. We have Walmart. They don't think we need farmers. And we have fewer farmers. That is a dwindling population. We have more prisoners than we have farmers. And if we're going to try and nourish this world that is growing, we need more farmers. So to get my kids excited about farming, and I'm going to show you how we get them excited about farming, I'm hoping that we're going to have a lot more farmers because I like to eat. And I want to make sure somebody's... We also do a lot of STEM and STEAM programming, and our teachers love all our farm programming because it fits so perfectly with them trying to get STEM and STEAM accreditation. And then our farmers love that they have a ready market. They do not like standing on the corner at the back of their truck and having 100 watermelons trying to sell them on a hot 100-degree afternoon, 100-degree humidity in Augusta, Georgia. They love bringing 100 watermelons to my schools and dropping them off and saying, "Thank you very much, I'll look for my check on Friday." They love it. So what are the disadvantages? There are disadvantages. I'm always going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly about everything. I don't like to rosy coat everything, but our farmers know how to grow the food, but that's all they know how to do. They don't know how to chop it, package it, harvest it, get it to the schools. They don't know how to do invoices. They don't know how to do all those things. So we've really had, they don't know how to price it. They don't know how to sell it to you. So we've had a lot of work to do in that area. And then weather effect on our farmers. Y'all don't have any weather events here in Kansas, do you? Nothing that would affect your farming. We have hurricanes in Georgia, and so recently we had a hurricane, and we had an incident with one of our farmers that flooded his collards, and we get collards delivery every single week. We are the South, and so he cut his collards and took them in and chopped them all up and got them ready to go, and he realized they were still dirty. So he took them out and he had to wash them again. Well, when he washed them again, he didn't have time to dry them, so he bagged them up and brought them to us, and by the time he got to the school, Kevin Sauer, what happened to those collards? They were not very pretty. They were soured because the water was on them. And so that was a lesson in learning how weather not only destroys crops, but it changes how he processed them and that kind of thing. So right now we've been dealing with late frost, and when late frost hit, we say we're the peach capital of the world, but actually we grow more blueberries in Georgia than any other crop. And so the late frost kills our blueberries and kills our peach plants. So that weather affects what we do in our system too. And then storage of the product. So all summer and all into the fall, we have all this great fresh produce, and then winter comes and we don't have access to fresh produce. So the farmers love to freeze it for us and bring it to us. But how do you store enough fresh produce for a whole year to feed 4,400 kids? You have to have huge freezers and huge coolers to put it in. So that is a disadvantage. And then quality control. How do you like those sweet potatoes? So we contract with this guy to bring us sweet potatoes. And so when he shows up with those sweet potatoes, that would not fit on one of our lunch trays. So we have to do some serious cutting and chopping and working with our farmers to make them understand what kind of quality and size we need in our potatoes. So interns, do I love interns? The interns did this. You better not squash the opportunity to eat real food. And that is how I feel about Farm to School. It can be very intimidating, but in the end, it is so, so worth it. So how did we get started? We just didn't instantly have a Farm to School program. So how did we get started? So I didn't know any farmers. Nobody in my family farmed. I didn't have any connections. So I contacted the Cooperative Extension Agency and said, "Do you know any farmers in the area?" And they said, "Of course." So they gave us this long list of farmers, and we sent out a letter to them and invited them to a farmers meeting. And then we went around to the farmers market in other counties and talked to those farmers, and we talked to the ag extension people at the high school and said, "Do you know anybody that does farming?" And so they said, "Sure." So this was our first group of farmers that showed up, and they did not know what they were getting into. And so they walked in, and we said, "We want to tell you a little bit about school lunch and want to see if you'd like to grow for us." And they said, "Well, you don't have school in the summer. That's when we have produce." And we said, "Oh, yes, we do. We have this huge summer feeding program where we feed about 3,000 kids a day in the summer." So yes, we do. So we sat down with them and we said, "Tell us what you grow." So when I went through and told them that we serve breakfast, lunch, supper, and all this food, and what the volume of food we were talking about, their eyes kind of lit up. And so we asked them what they could grow for us. And I said, there isn't anything that you can't grow for us or raise for us that we could not use. And I said, except for one thing, and I'm going to have to change the tune on that. I said, except radishes. I don't think I could use 500 pounds of radishes. Well, after that lunch we had today, where we had those lovely radishes, watermelon radishes, I may have to change my tune. I may need to tell them to start growing radishes for us. So anyway, the farmers were like, okay, if we grow this, you will buy it? Absolutely. So they were really, really excited. So what we call the sun and water of our program are the extra hands. When we started in Farm to School, it was very labor intensive. So does anybody know what that middle picture is? Eggplant fries. So we decided we were going to do eggplant fries for 1,000 people at a school. We were insane. We had to peel, cut, slice, coat, put panko crumbs on it, Parmesan cheese, bake them in the oven. They were a hit, but that's the last time we ever did eggplant fries. So the kids the interns we had, if we didn't have interns, we could not have done eggplant fries. We did a picnic at the school. Our kids had never been to a picnic. I'll repeat that, had never been to a picnic. So we did a picnic at the school, and we had all this Farm to School stuff, and we boxed everything up and did it outside, and they wrote, the intern who planned and organized the whole picnic, the biggest thank you note. And of course, they want the picnic every year now, so we've got to make sure we keep having interns. That was Turnip the Beet month that we were doing, and so the interns were coming up with beet recipes to try in the schools. That is raw. I love beets. You either love beets or hate beets. There's like no in between. So they came to me and they ran the recipe. They said, this is raw beet salad. And I went, really? Let's try it. The kids loved it. The kids absolutely loved it. It was the interns' ideas, and there they are making homemade cookies. So the interns have really been a huge part of our program. The other thing is the staff in the kitchens. You cannot start a program without getting the staff on board because, we get corn on the cob. We don't have to shuck it, but we have to break those ears. So you get 1,000 ears because you're feeding that many kids and you have to ask your staff to break the ears. That's a lot of work. So we had to get our staff on board. So we really looked for champions. So sometimes there's extra prep. Sometimes they have to go outside and help get the watermelons out of the truck because the farmer, can't do it all by himself. So you really got to get your staff on board. And so I decided to take my staff on field trips. And this is one of the best things I ever did because they kind of got a little aggravated with, when you do one produce company, it's one stop. They bring all your produce for the week. When you do all these Farm to School, you've got 10 different farmers coming in the back door, dropping the watermelons and bringing the squash and bringing the collards. It's a lot more traffic, a lot more invoices. And so I said, I need to make sure my staff really likes these farmers and understands how hard they work. So I took them out to a dairy farm and I said, how would you like to work 365 days of the year, getting up and milking at 4 in the morning and 4 in the evening, no sick days, no holidays, no Christmas days off? They really like the milkman when he comes now. They really do not want to be a dairy farmer. That is hard work. Then I took them to the aquaponic lettuce place where we get our lettuce from, and they were having problems because we sometimes get on our broccoli that we get or on our lettuce, we sometimes get animals and live insects and stuff like that, and the principals freak out. Oh my gosh, we found a worm on our broccoli, and I said, isn't it nice to know that it's fresh? Well, that was not her attitude. So anyway, we get insects on our stuff, so I took them there, and I said, let me show you where this is grown and show you why we have, insects and stuff. And then I take them to the fields. I show them how hot and what hard work it is to work in the fields, picking and growing and planting, and that these farmers are out there all day long doing this job for them. So that has made a huge difference. And then I wanted to make sure that our staff got to know the farmers, because somehow when you know somebody on a personal basis, you're not so upset when they're a little bit late bringing the collards in, or the watermelons aren't exactly the right size when you order 100 small watermelons and you get 100, huge watermelons, and that happens. One time we ordered 50 pounds of cabbage and we got 50 heads of cabbage, and all these things that just are life. So when they know the farmers, they're a lot nicer to them and are a little bit more tolerant of their mistakes. So what is the fertilizer of our program? The marketing. Marketing is so key in everything you do, whether you're a dietitian, anywhere, anything you do, you've got to market your program. So this is a picture of the TVs that are outside of our lunchrooms, and we put on there L next to anything that is local. So we were having white-acre peas that day. Does anybody know what white-acre peas are? They're like gold in the South, and you cannot buy them at the grocery store, but you can get them in Burke County at the school lunch program, and the teachers buy double portions on white-acre pea days. But we make sure that we market so that the kids know what is local on the menu and the teachers know what is local on the menu. And then we do a lot of articles in the newspaper because we want the community to know what we are doing, and they really, like I said, school nutrition doesn't get a lot of positive publicity very often, and our Farm to School program has brought us a lot of positive publicity. We do a lot of social media. So we have our own Facebook account, we have our own Instagram, and we have our own Twitter account, and I would love for you to follow it because then you'll want to come eat lunch with me every single day in Burke County when you see all the delicious food that we serve. We also get the students involved. So we did a Facebook promotion, Veggies Are Lit. I'm too old to know, the kids in here know what that meant. When the dietitian came to me and said, we're going to do a Veggies Are Lit, I said, well, what the heck does that mean? So anyway, we did a photo booth and we had them post all these things, and so we tagged them in the pictures. So guess who saw it? Their parents, and they got all excited about all this farm to school stuff that we were doing. And so we did a lot of that, and we did a trivia contest with all these questions about fruits and vegetables and growing and stuff, and all the dietitians in the area said, can we do this? I said, no, this is for the students. They were excited about the trivia. And then we do a lot of media. So, you know, we're constantly trying to get good publicity for the school system. So anytime we do anything, for some reason, the media people love to come do farm to school stuff. They love to see the kids planting in the dirt and doing all this gardening stuff. And so getting media to come is so easy, and it is such good publicity. So we do lots and lots of media. So I also get the teachers involved so that they get out there and talk to the teachers and give them some good publicity. The other thing is I bring in our school board chairman, and I bring in the state school superintendent, and I bring in the ag commissioner, and I bring in all the bigwigs from all over the state when we do our big events so that they know what we're doing and they get on board with it and they're supportive and they actually start giving money and time and talent and stuff to the Farm to School program. So it's a great time to get that good publicity out there. So the more marketing we do is every year we do a Feed My School event where for the one whole week we locally source everything on our menu, from the beef, the chicken, the pork, the eggs, the yogurt, everything is locally sourced. And so all the farmers, we get t-shirts for all the kids. So the kids wear these t-shirts home that have all the names of all the farmers from all the products that we're getting for our Feed My School event. And I love when I'm in the schools later on in the year and I see the kids wearing the t-shirts because they just love the t-shirts. And so we advertise. We also do a Know Your Farmer campaign. My goal is to make the farmers rock stars. I want our kids to think being a farmer is the coolest job ever. And so we have these Know Your Farmer campaigns, and so when we're offering something new, we put this out there on the table. And the kids, when they come to our farmers market that I'm going to talk about, they tell their mom, Mom, that's Pete, he does our collards. Mom, that's Lisa, she does our salad. They know the farmers. They really think they're cool. And then I can't always get Congress to support Farm to School and support what we're doing. So that is my Republican congressman. And when I go to D.C., I always take some local products and I take pictures of him holding some products from our local farmers. And then I post and get him to post on his webpage. And most of them are really proud of Farm to School, so it's not a hard thing to do. But I want our congressmen to know what we're doing in our county. So then we started doing farmer trading cards. I thought they do baseball cards. Why not farmer trading cards? So and you know who loves the cards more than anybody? The farmers. They come in and go, can I have 30 more of those cards? My friends and family want some of the cards. So when the kids eat something new like eggplant fries, they need to know where the eggplant comes from. So they get a farmer trading card. So they pass them around and stuff like that. So it's another way they get to know the farmers, and it's just something fun to do. Is she not adorable? She's proud of her card. Then we branded our program. So we actually paid a consultant to do this, and it was an interesting story because we went in to look at what he came up with. I love the name Harvest Bright. So our thing is we're harvesting bright students. And that's exactly what I feel like we do with our program. And so you can see the light bulb for, brightness, and then the grain. That would be good for Kansas, the grain in the middle. So, but I had an issue with it. I said, I don't do orange. In Georgia, we hate every football team that is orange. We hate Auburn, Tennessee, Florida. I cannot do orange. He said, Donna, that is school bus orange. I said, okay, I can do orange. So that was, the green was for growing and the orange was for school buses. So I love that Harvest Bright. So we started doing all this ag swag, and our farmers started wearing our hats and putting bumper stickers on the things. And so we started branding our program to get the word out. So we have all kinds of ag swag. So anytime anybody comes to visit our school district, they get ag swag. And if I'd had room in my suitcase, I should have brought some ag swag. But our interns and kids love our ag swag. So we finally had to start a farmer's market. And the reason we had to start a farmer's market is our teachers, I would be in the schools and I'd find the teachers at the back door. And I'm going, what are y'all doing here? Well, Pete's coming with collards, and I want to catch him because I want to get some of his collards. I go, you're not allowed in my kitchen. Get out, get out, get out. So they were constantly attacking the farmers wanting the product. So I finally just talked to the farmers and said, how about doing a farmer's market? So we started our first ever farmer's market. So every Thursday from 4 to 6, a bank gave us this wonderful location, and our farmers go there. And that's when I'm having a bad day, I always go to the farmer's market because there's always one of my school kids running up, taking $1 out of their back pocket and saying, Kenneth, can I get a watermelon? I mean, that is just music to my ears. So the farmer's market, and when you see them leaving with smiles on their faces and they're eating the same food that we do for the kids, that is a win-win-win. So look at that child eating a cucumber, and there's no ranch dressing on it. Usually I said they have to have ranch dressing. There's no ranch dressing on it. But the teachers, I know we're getting ready to start a farmer's market again, and they've been bugging us on Facebook. When is the farmer's market starting? We're ready. We're ready. So because of the food insecurity in our district, we decided we wanted to do Wholesome Wave. Who in here is familiar with Wholesome Wave? Yay! 1 person, 2 people. Wholesome Wave is a fantastic national program that allows people on food stamps to go to a farmer's market, and they double up the amount of fruits and vegetables they get. You know too, thank you. So if they give us $10, that's the EBT machine. If they give me $10 of food stamp money, I give them $20 in tokens to buy fruits and vegetables. Is that not heaven? I mean, food stamp people getting twice as much fruits and vegetables. So we love that, and we have really good participation with that. So that goes along with the veggie prescription program. Wholesome Wave also does the veggie prescription programs. Hopefully y'all have heard about those, where the doctors, instead of giving out medicine, they give out prescriptions for vegetables, and you go to the farmer's market and you get vegetables. That is where food is medicine for sure. So we also have an early Head Start program where we have 6-week-olds to 3 years old, and they were mad they didn't get to go to the farmer's market. So we do what we call a pop-up market there at our early Head Start. So in the afternoon when the parents come get the kids, we do cooking tests, cooking demonstrations and taste tests for the parents, because that's where we really want to capture these kids to learn to eat healthy when they're little. When you're 50 and 60, we know it's tough, but when you're little, they'll eat anything. So what are the pebbles in the pond? That's my saying that I tell to the interns all the time, that the pebbles in the pond are when you drop a pebble in there and you think it's no big deal, but the ripple effect is, incredible. And so we thought starting the Farm to School program would be really, really easy, and that there would be no hassles, no problems. Well, the pebbles were definitely in the pond. So, talk to the farmers. They had no idea how to package the product to get to us. So, what are we going to buy boxes? Are we going to do bags? And so this is our lettuce person. She sends it in these big buckets, and we wash the buckets and return it to her. Our guy does the collards and trash bags. I'm not sure that's sanitary, Kevin. I don't want to hear any differently. So just close your eyes. So far, after 6 years, nobody's gotten sick. But so that was an issue. How they didn't know how to package it. And then the flexibility of what happens when the crop fails. So we were planning on getting watermelons last summer, and they had a flood, and a hurricane came, wiped out all the watermelons. So what happens when that happens? What happens when the farmer calls you and says, that guy that had those sweet potatoes, he had a bumper crop of sweet potatoes, and he called and said, you know, do you need some extra sweet potatoes? So we call those opportunity buys, and when we can get it at a really good price and we can put it in our freezer or store it, we do it. What happens when they come and bring you? Does anybody know what that is in that picture? It's a cucamelon, It's a cucumber melon. It's about this big. And this guy had retired, and he had just bushels and bushels of cucamelons. He said, I don't know what to do with them. So we bought them, and we put them with some ranch dressing at the high school. The kids loved them. Who knew? Who knew? When the hurricanes come, it's a problem. What happens when the product gets bad? So we had our farmers, peas are a really big deal for us in the South, and we have to have a lot of legumes every week, a legume in school lunch. So we were thrilled when a farmer said he'd grow white-acre peas and black-eyed peas and butter beans for us. So you have to package them under a certain temperature. And he didn't know that, and he packaged them on a warm day, and they sprouted, and they got to the schools, and the schools went to serve them, and I got the phone calls from every school all about the same time. Ah! So lots of issues that we have to work through. So, you know, how do you want your collards? If you don't know about collards, on the left is a mess of collards, that's what it's called. And you would need the biggest wash basin to wash those collards because they are very dirty. And they would probably do about serving for 8 people. That's it. So if I told my schools, I'm going to send you 100 messes of collards to wash and clean, I would find a bomb under my car. So we had to work with the farmers to tell them, we don't want messes of collards. That's typically how they sell them on the roadside. We want them washed, chopped, cleaned, and bagged. And our kids absolutely know when it's local collards because they look totally different than the frozen collards that we get. And when it's local collard day, they get double the amount of collards on their plate because they taste so much better. So that is a 2-year-old eating collards. So we start them out early on eating well. Then our aquaponic lettuce that we get is branded fish heads lettuce because it's fish that feeds, if you're familiar with aquaponics, the fish poop in the water, and then that fertilizes the heads of lettuce. So they thought they were very clever to call it fish heads. So we thought we'd be very clever and call our salad fish head salads. Well, my phone started ringing off the hook from the parents. You're not serving fish heads to my kids, and blah, blah, blah. So we had to change the name of our salads to not call them fish head salads. But our kids love salads, and we serve salads every day, and that's them showing them how the water grows and the lettuce grows. It's a very popular field trip with the kids. So the big deal was how much to charge. They had no idea how to charge for the food. They knew how to grow it, and then we finally told them how to cut it and chop it and stuff. They didn't know how. So we teach them how to use market bulletins, and we give them our local produce prices. So we work with them on how to bid and how to charge. But they also don't know how to do an invoice. So as our farmers say, they say, Miss Martin, I don't know nothing about ciphering. I just know about growing. And I say, well, you grow and I'll teach you how to cipher. So we bring them in for word processing and Excel classes, and we develop an invoice for them, and we show them how, because otherwise they'd bring in this chicken scratch that never added up, and my bookkeeper was about to kill me because it never was right. So now they do it on Excel or Word, whatever they want to do to make it right. So then when you're dealing with farm to school, you have to deal with, do they have insurance? Because what happens if my kids get sick? Nobody's going to get sick off food, are they, Dr. Sauer? No, I didn't think so. But on the far chance that they do, those farmers are going to get sued. So they have to have insurance. So we also worry about whether they're GAP certified and that kind of stuff. So we go out and we inspect every single farm. We want to know where the water's coming from. Are they using manure? We want to know, do they have hand washing stations, all these kinds of things. So we do a really in-depth inspection before we allow them to serve our very vulnerable population. And then we do contracts with them, and we teach them how to complete the bidding documents, which are very difficult for a lot of them. So we do lots and lots and lots of training with them. And so we do food safety training and all kinds of training with them. And they love to come to training because we feed them good lunch. And they really do like coming. But we actually sit them down and help them fill out the bid documents and things like that. So this is our Feed My School Week menu. And underneath each thing on the menu, it tells you the farmer of where we got the product from. And it is a very popular event. And the kids, we see a real increase in consumption from our adults and our teachers. And we also have some parents that come in, and our farmers come in for this week, and they love to eat all this stuff. So we have everyone dresses like a farmer day, and the kids are the cutest farmers ever. And that is one of the teachers, and that is our representative. So we always invite our congressman down for our Feed My School Week, and he does a big assembly, and we get him on stage talking about how much he loves Farm to School and how proud he is of the school nutrition program, and I get the media there to videotape him saying all these wonderful things about school nutrition. Because he's a Republican, and Republicans don't always support school nutrition like they should. So we get him on the record doing that. And so when Shale Johnson and I just testified before Congress, he introduced me, and he bragged about that he'd been to every one of our Feed My School events, and that he hoped to never miss one, and that he loved the food, and that the kids loved the food, and I could have paid him $1 million for that. So it was great. So we do an Ag Expo Day, and the kids love this. So they get to pet goats, and they see chickens, and we do grain that we have a little portable mill that comes out, and we do things like Veggie ID Challenge, and they have to eat weird stuff, and we do a corn shucking relay races. So they have no idea that corn had to be shucked before they got it off the cob, and so they have to shuck it and run down and tag somebody, and they love that. And we do grape stomping, so they stomp grapes and make grape juice, not wine, grape juice, and they really get into that. They think that is so cool. And then we do bulletin boards throughout the school, and these teachers, I give them credit, they are so creative with the things that they come up with. These are not intern ones, these are teacher. So every teacher, as part of Feed My School Week, has to do a bulletin board and get the kids involved, and they really, really are amazing. So when the media comes in, I make sure they go up and down all the halls to take pictures of everything. So we do photo booths. For a lot of my kids, they do not own a hard copy picture of themselves. I know you think that sounds funny, but they do not own a picture of themselves. So we do a photo booth, and they get to dress up like a farmer, and we send the pictures home with them. And that is some really good publicity with their parents, and makes them talk about what they're doing in school. And then this is the coolest thing. The interns love this. Every single class does their own veggie buggy. They can use fruits or vegetables, and then we have this ramp up in the right-hand corner. Our maintenance department did these ramps. So each class comes up, and they put their veggie buggies at the top, and they race down, and we do it competition, 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 and then the class that wins, we do a yogurt smoothie party for them. So they get into that, and it makes them learn about fruits and vegetables. It is really, really a fun event, and they're very creative. I could not be that creative. So we invite a lot of dignitaries. So this is our ag commissioner for the state, and he comes in, and he loves Farm to School. He really sees the value of doing this and how it keeps the economy growing in Georgia, and he's a huge supporter. So there he is, and he loves getting to come and interact with all our farmers and getting to know them. And then those are all of us. That's our state school. That's our Cheryl Johnson, Nancy Rice on the right for Georgia. So I get them to come. I get the Southeastern Regional USDA. I invite anybody and everybody. And you know what? They always come because they get this fabulous meal, and they'll drive a couple of hours for a great school lunch. So this is, we decorate the outside of the school, and then the congressmen always go back and take pictures with the staff, and the staff get the biggest kick out of that because they're always the ones that get left out in anything. They're the ones back there working hard to make those stupid eggplant fries, and they don't even get to see the kids out there enjoying them. So those are our flower arrangements we made with our aquaponic lettuce on the tables. So these are some of our happy customers, and the kids have lots of choices, and they really do love it, and it is so fun to see them eating the food and enjoying it. There are the interns, and the internship director always wants to come too. She knows where a good free meal is, but they handle the veggie buggy races. So out of this, our latest thing is tower gardens. So we decided, we had some outdoor gardens, but are y'all familiar with these tower gardens? They're really awesome. They cost about $900, and we have about 20 of them in the school district, and they are fantastic for teaching kids about growing stuff. So they actually, I think it's in the next picture, they actually do the seedlings, and then they plant them, and then we harvest the stuff. And so when they harvest it, we do a cooking class for them with the food and the product. And so I want to tell you a little story about one of the tower gardens we put in one of our elementary schools, and it was in a special needs class, and it was severely and profoundly intellectually challenged students. And the teacher in there said that they had one child in there that was not sociable at all. He would not interact with anybody in the class. Because of the tower garden, for some reason, he fell in love with the tower garden, and it just turned this child's personality around to where now he interacts with other students and stuff. So I'm like, it was worth the $900 to have this child change his attitude. You just never know what is going to change a child around, but the tower gardens are amazing, and the kids love everything they eat off of the tower garden. Universally, they love it. They love it. So we do have outdoor beds, and the kids do love to do their STEM projects and decide what they're going to grow, and they love getting their hands dirty. I guess moms at home don't like them digging in the dirt. They love coming to school and digging in the dirt, and we have no shortage of volunteers to work outside in our gardens. So one of the coolest things we do is have y'all ever heard of a Charlie cart? It's a cooking cart that we have in our school system that we got from a grant from the academy, and now we own actually 2 of them. And it's on wheels, it's mobile, and we take it to the schools, and twice a week, all day on Tuesdays and Thursday, we do cooking classes at the school. And one of the things as a dietitian that I'm very passionate about is that people don't know how to cook. These kids' families do not know how to cook. So we do cooking classes with the kids, and those kids will eat anything that they cook. They will eat Brussels sprouts. They will eat asparagus. They will eat anything that they cook. And one of the children, we were in there one day, and the kid said to Kara, the dietitian that does the Charlie cart, said, "This is the best day of my life, getting to do this cooking class." So you just never know when you're going to inspire somebody to learn to cook. So they take the recipes home, and then when we see them in the hall, they go, "We did that tomato dish, and my family loved it. It was great." It was just a fresco thing. It wasn't even anything that bruschetta. It was a tomato bruschetta, but they tried it at home, and they loved it. So we take the stuff that comes out of the gardens or the tower gardens, and we'll do a cooking class for them. But then we also do cooking classes if it's like they're studying a different culture. We'll come in and do foods that are native to that culture for them, for the teachers. So it's the interns' very favorite thing. They really want to do Charlie cart every day of the week, but I tell them they cannot do Charlie cart every day of the week, but they wish they could. So this is our Kicking It with Kale promotion. So the interns came up with 5 different kale recipes, and we did it in the schools and tried it out, and universally the kids love it. And so, our motto is if the kids taste it, they will eat it. If they grow it, they will eat it. And if they cook it, they will eat it. So we are big on taste tests, but I never have time to do taste tests, but the interns love to do taste tests. So I want to just talk to you a little bit about the products we locally source. Collards in the trash bags. Kevin, do not send me an email. Do not, or come up with an alternative, but it's been working. Corn on the cob, purple whole peas, white acre peas, and butter beans, and we have those products, all of these year-round. We keep them in the freezer or have them fresh. Sweet potatoes that are gargantuan. They grow really well in Georgia. Peaches, and our summer feeding program, we have peaches on the buses, but last year we lost our entire peach crop, and our kids were begging us all summer long for peaches, and we had to buy them, but they were never as good as what we could get local. So honeydew. So we have a guy that's about 50 miles from us who makes flour for us. So we get our own locally whole wheat flour, but we have to keep it in the cooler because the brand's not been taken out of it. So it has to be refrigerated, which is one of those disadvantages, but we deal with it. So we make all our own homemade rolls. We make our own homemade cinnamon rolls. We still do that. And that smell coming around the school really invites the kids down there to eat. And cucumbers are our kids' probably favorite raw vegetable. Who knew? But they would eat that over broccoli, carrots, anything. And if you do our homemade ranch dressing with it, I swear they would eat cardboard with our ranch dressing. They love, and it's low fat. It's made with low fat mayonnaise, non-fat dry milk. It's very healthy, but they love ranch dressing. We do not serve ranch dressing on pizza day because they pour it on their pizza. So I cannot stand to see that. So we do strawberries, watermelons, squash. We do very little meat. Meat is very, very expensive, so we do it during our Feed My School week. We do locally sourced chicken and beef that 1 week. We can't afford it the rest of the year. I'm hoping that eventually it's going to go down in price, but right now we can't afford it all the time. We don't do much organic because we can't afford it. So sometimes our farmers have what we call an opportunity buy, and they call me up and say, Donna, I know you can't afford organic, but I got a lot of it. Will you take it at a reduced price? Yes, I will. We do lettuce, and so we do local grits and local cornmeal, homemade cornmeal. And whenever I go to Congress, I always take grits to them because they swear that nobody eats these grits. So let me see if I can do this. He told me how to do it, and now let me see if it's coming up. There we go. This is our I Love Lucy machine. And we package cheese grits for breakfast in the classroom. We gotta put this stuff in there. Well, it didn't get very far. Well, you kind of got the gist of it. So do we want to see coyotes? So because we do breakfast in the classroom, our kids' favorite breakfast is cheese grits, and we could not find a manufacturer to make us boiled up grits that we could send down. So we bought this $175,000 packaging machine, and we have made our money back, toot sweet, because it costs you about 25 cents to make a package of cheese grits, and that's versus paying 50 to 75 cents for something that I would normally buy. And our participation soars on Cheese Grits Day. So when we push the carts down the hall, the kids are like jumping. You'd think it was a thing of cotton candy in there. They love it so much. So we have trouble finding labor. I think a lot of school districts are finding trouble finding labor. So these are our football players. Our football players were looking for extra work, and so we hire them, and they work in the lunchroom, and so they help us make grits. And they are these big, strapping boys, and they become the biggest supporters of school nutrition when they see how hard we work and what we have to do to make the food. So we think outside the box all the time, but grits are very popular in the South. So we do some ag in the classroom where we take the kids out to see how they plant, and then they go back in the fall and they harvest the food with the farmers. So we really want to get them out into a real farm, not just a little garden plot out behind the school. So they really love going out and getting their hands dirty. So these are future farmers, and I'm hoping that some of them will become future farmers. So the middle school decided to do an end hunger game. So they decided that they were going to have 3 different teams, the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Each was going to grow food in a different way. One was going to do aquaponic, one was going to do it in a hoop house, and one was going to do outside in the gardens and see who could grow the most. And then they were going to take it to the food bank to donate the food. So I thought that was part of their STEM projects, and that really got them into doing it. So we've gotten a lot of awards for our program, but the best thing about getting awards is that you get your name in the newspaper and you get to talk about what you're doing, and it brings more farmers to us. So every time I put an advertisement in the paper that we won an award or something, a farmer calls me up and says, I didn't know you were looking for food. What do you want me to grow? So I'm always wanting somebody to grow grape tomatoes for me. I finally found a farmer to grow grape tomatoes. So it's a great way to get in front of your school board and tell them about the positive things that you're doing. So I told y'all I didn't want radishes, and so the big award in Georgia is the Golden Radish Award. So we won for the best school district in Georgia. And when I was doing all this traveling for the academy, it was like good job security to win all these awards, because how can the superintendent get rid of somebody that just won the big state award for farm to school? So it's good job security. So we put this out every year, and this is our farm to school report card, and we talk about all the money that we spend and all the things that we're doing and try and get the word out about our farm to school program. So I want to talk a little bit about, and I just realized these pictures didn't show up. About advocacy work. I'm going to switch hats just a little bit and talk about my work in public policy. And in my work in Farm to School, I got to go to Congress and testify in a hearing where they brought in, if you've ever gone to Congress to testify, you don't normally talk to the congressman, you talk to their staffers. And that is a good thing, because the staffers are the ones telling the congressman what to do and how to vote on a bill. So the Farm to School people asked some of us that were working in Farm to School to come do an educational event for the staffers to talk to them about Farm to School. So that was a really fun thing to get to go do, because there was a big Farm to School bill out, and they were trying to get support to have money to increase the opportunities for more people to have Farm to School. So that was a really fun thing, and I'm sorry that the pictures didn't work. But we're big on bringing our congressman to work. So the guy in the middle used to be my congressman, and he was a Democrat. And so I talked to him one way, and then when my Republican guy came in, I talked to him a totally different way. Because they both have different interests, right, Cheryl? You've got to learn how to talk both sides of the aisle and know, but you also want to get them in. And it's hard when you show them what you're doing, and when the kids are eating and the farmers are happy, it's hard for them to argue with what we're doing in school nutrition. So that's my congressman, and he eats everything on his plate. And I put that picture on his website all the time. But to the far right is my senator's staffers. So it's really impossible to get a senator in your district, but if you can get their staff members to come, so they come every year for our Feed My School event, and then they go back and share with the congressman what they learned about Farm to School. So I want to talk to you a little bit about my BFF, Michelle Obama. 4 years ago, I got called and asked to go testify before Congress, and that was absolutely my favorite experience I have ever had. And on that day, they were talking about child nutrition reauthorization, and they were wanting to roll back the standards on school nutrition. So I came into, and as one of down the Democrat side, and they had 3 Republican people, and they said, Donna, they're not going to ask you any questions. They're not going to want you to talk because you're the minority, and you're going to have to be a little bit obnoxious about it. So they kept asking everybody else all these questions about, school lunch, the kids don't really like the food, do they? And the kids really throw out all the food, don't they? And they're not going to eat whole grains, are they? And they don't like fruits and vegetables, do they? And I kept jumping up and saying, excuse me, but let me tell you about what we do in Burke County and how it works. And I felt like I had hit a grand slam by the end of that meeting, because I was fighting for the future of our kids. And if we don't change the way kids eat before they're adults, there is no hope. It is impossible to change adults. It is so hard. So it was a great experience. So having done that, the White House was, everybody was attacking them like crazy to not do, Michelle Obama, thank you, Michelle Obama. The kids were doing all those videos where they were falling out in the gym, and they were starving, and they were posting these pictures of one chicken strip on their plate. Is this enough school lunch? You're starving me. And so Michelle Obama decided to invite 5 school nutrition directors to come to the White House, and she wanted to talk to us to find out, is it working? So I was out at one of my schools one day, and my secretary called and said, the White House has called you twice. And I said, tell my husband, who owns White House Dry Cleaners, that I will call him later. And she said, no, the real White House. I'll call them back. So I went in and they said, will you come and talk to Michelle about what's going on in your district? Well, that was a Friday afternoon, and they wanted me there Tuesday morning. I said, I'll be there. So I went running into the superintendent's office, said, I'm going to, Washington, D.C. So this is the room that I walked into, and I looked, and there were name tags out there. There was my name tag, and right next to Donna Martin's name tag was where Michelle Obama was going to be sitting. And when I got in there, I said, nobody's in here. I think I'll just move these name tags around because I was scared to death. So Michelle Obama comes in and she starts talking, and she blew me out of the water, people, because she spoke from the heart, and she told me something I'll never, ever forget. She said, Donna, well, she didn't say Donna. She said, I don't want to look back in 20 years and feel like I could have made a difference with kids, and I didn't. So I feel like this issue is so important. So we took a picture with her afterwards, and because I was sitting next to her, my picture was plastered over every station. I walked out of there to get on a flight to come home, and my son was going, Mom, your picture is everywhere. And I said, and so I go place and people say, were you the lady in the pink jacket? People really noticed that picture. But anyway, she was the real deal, and she really, really inspired me. So then I get this call. It was right before Masters Week, and it was the White House, and they said, do you have a school garden? And I said, yes. And they said, would you mind if Flotus came down and planted in your garden? And I said, no, that'd be great. When can she come? Next week. We didn't have any school going on. We didn't have any teachers there. Everybody was on spring break. I mean, everybody leaves town the week of the Masters. And I said, we don't have any kids. We don't have any teachers. They said, that's why we want to come then. Oh, Lord. So anyway, I round up teachers, and so these people on the tractor were 4 people from the advanced team. They spent 1 week with me, 12 hours a day, getting ready for her 2-hour visit that she came to my county. And they had never seen a tractor. They wanted their picture taken on the tractor. They were Yankees. I'm sorry if anybody's a Yankee in here, but they had never seen a tractor. So anyway, they made us do stuff like we had to move the dumpsters to make sure a sniper could not be in the dumpster and could possibly snipe at Michelle Obama. We had to put 30 school buses crisscrossed out behind the garden so nobody could shoot her through the things. We had to re-logo our wheelbarrows so that there wasn't a logo to be seen on any pictures that could be taken because she could not be seen as advertising anything. So Secret Service and I got to be real close for a solid week, and this was the vehicle that came with Michelle Obama when she came. So this was her coming in and talking to the kids, and the kids shared with her in the greenhouse how they plant and do stuff. I was so proud of these kids, and she got out there and planted in the gardens with them. She was so real and so genuine, and the kids, they weren't scared of her at all. And they were out there yakking it up with her, talking to her. And my favorite question they asked her was, they said, does the Secret Service drive you crazy? And she said, no. She said, the media drives me crazy. I'm so afraid they're going to get a picture of my booty and plaster it on the front of People magazine. She said, that's who drives me crazy. So she was awesome. So she loved on them, and then I wanted my picture taken with Secret Service. I thought they were so cool. But they had the dogs. They did the dogs through the building. I couldn't even walk around the building without Secret Service once the day came because they had checked all that stuff. So I want to, she took pictures with everybody. And do you know what a thrill it was for my staff to get a picture with Michelle Obama? And Pete, the farmer, was out in the garden. He kissed her cheek, and I don't think he's ever washed that cheek since then. So we had made all this local food. We had this local menu. I had my staff come in off break, and that is Congo chicken, sweet potatoes. The oranges were not local. Local strawberries, local cabbage. That's some of that cabbage that I told you is green. And our sardis salad, and our homemade dressing, our homemade cornbread. And we were so fired up that we were going to feed the First Lady. And so we had made all these to-go plates. We knew she wasn't going to be able to stay to eat. So they asked for 2 to-go plates. So we were just like crestfallen that, okay, you know, they're just getting these token to-go plates. So they go outside. They had a 30-car parade of cars taking her back to the airport. They had shut down the airport during the Masters tournament, which was a huge no-no, and all these planes were circling trying to land, and they couldn't because she was there. So anyway, they took the trays out there, and about 10 minutes later, one of her staff members comes running into the kitchen. They said, do you have any more to-go plates to go? And we said, yeah, why? And they said, well, the first lady opened the plate and started eating the food, and she said it was so amazing that she wants to give it to everybody. So we sent 20 plates of food with her. She gave it to the pilots, to all the drivers, to the Secret Service. Everybody got to eat Burke County food. And when she got back to Washington, her staff called me and said she loved the vegetables. So we had done squash casserole. She said she wants the recipe for your squash casserole. And I said, I think I could give it to her. So anyway, it was really an amazing event for everybody. And I think that's even better job security to have the First Lady come to your district. So the last time I got to meet with her was she was doing her capstone event, and she was having 5 people come to the White House to speak. And so they gave us each 3 minutes to speak. So there is the 5 of us up there. And the person you can't see to my right is Pete Buttigieg, the guy that is running for the presidential guy from Notre Dame. So he's from South Bend, Indiana. He was the 5th speaker, and he was next to me. And I was a nervous wreck because I had 3 minutes to speak, and I had, you know, us dietitians are type A people. I had this long list of things I wanted to make sure everybody heard. I mean, I had 15 points that, by George, I was going to get out in my 3 minutes. And all these other people, the lady on the left is the head of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. The next lady is with the Produce Alliance. The next guy is the basketball player, somebody, he was amazing. And then it was Pete Buttigieg, the mayor. And I kept asking, y'all nervous? No, we're not nervous. So I was the only one nervous. But I was the only nutrition person there. Here we're talking about nutrition and childhood obesity. I was the only one there talking about nutrition. By George, there were 200 people in the audience, and there were 200 media people out there, and I was going to get my points out. So anyway, that was an amazing event. And then that was my picture with her. And then the next day, we got to come back and actually harvest in the garden. So I said, I took one for the team. I have my Kids Eat Right Foundation t-shirt on, and I had to call and get permission to wear that because you're not allowed to wear anything logoed. So they gave me permission to wear it. And so it was mostly middle schoolers harvesting in the gardens, but they called me and said, would you mind taking a 4- and 5-year-old to harvest in the gardens? I said, sure, no problem. Well, it was a problem. The 5-year-old lost a tooth while we were sitting there, and his tooth comes out, and he is bleeding profusely. So I'm trying to wrap up this tooth. His mother's behind the ropes back there, and and I'm trying to find her to give her the tooth, and he's, blood's coming everywhere. The other child was so nervous, like every little boy, he had to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes. So I had to keep flagging us. There's no bathrooms out on the White House lawn. So I had to keep flagging a Secret Service guy, would you please take him to the bathroom for me? Would you please take him to the bathroom? So we get out there, and our job was to harvest bell peppers. It was very, very easy. And I thought, good, they gave us a good job, so an easy job. So we're harvesting bell peppers, and we'd been told that Barack Obama might be coming out. We were not allowed to tell the kids because it wasn't a done deal. So I saw him coming, and he came over to us, and the kids were not the least bit interested in him. They had no idea who he was. They were there for Michelle Obama. So he comes up, and he introduces himself, and the little boy says, we sure had to wait a long time on Miss Obama to come out here. And me and my big mouth, I said, always waiting on a woman. So I did not make a lot of brownie points, but I did get to meet Barack Obama, and he was very, very nice, but the kids were not impressed with him at all. So as I mentioned, 4 years ago, I got to testify before Congress, and then the Dems called me and they said, Donna, you were the only person that could hang with those people last time. Would you come back and testify again? We're getting ready to do child nutrition reauthorization. So this time it was 3 Dems against 1 Republican. And so we were kind of like going, oh, we wonder who's going to be, testifying for the Republicans. And so the Academy was very nervous about who was going to be on the other side and what were they going to be saying and stuff. And so they called me up and they said, do you know this person named Cheryl Johnson? And I went, Yahoo! I said, we don't have to worry about her. She is fantastic. So Cheryl and I got to be on the panel together. And there she is in her purple. So she told me I had to get purple for today, so we are twinning today. So if we go back, we're going to twin again. So she and I, brother-in-law, so good because some of them, the Republicans, were asking about local. They want local control, and I was arguing with them about it, and the guy pretty much said, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I want to talk to Cheryl. And Cheryl said, I agree with Donna. So it was just really fantastic. But my point being that if you are passionate about dietetics, then public policy ought to be your passion because it influences everything that goes on. We're getting ready to do the dietary guidelines. That impacts everything that you're going to be teaching to Americans. And we have 10 dietitians on the dietary guidelines panel out of 20. The Academy got 10 dietitians on there, and it's because of the hard work that we did on the board, putting those names forward. And if you deal with WIC, food stamps, SNAP-Ed, everything is affected in what you do. So you need to be passionate about public policy. So once you go and talk to your congressman or invite him to your job, if you're in a hospital, let him come see what you do and make him understand why we need medical nutrition reimbursement. Tell him that you needed to be reimbursed for seeing these patients. So you need to be passionate about it. So I want to inspire you to do that, and there's nobody better than Cheryl Johnson. And so just today, we had another Kansas person, Josh, there testifying on the Senate side. He wore his purple. So Kansas was very well represented for child nutrition reauthorization. So the results of all this, I think, are smiling faces, happy kids, well-nourished kids, and that to watch a child eat a salad is just, they get to pick, we don't force them, they have so many choices every day. And that's our ultimate goal, a clean plate. And that's what I like taking pictures of, our clean plates. So I say local, 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 that's what we try and do. And this is one of our trays with local whiteacre peas, roasted red ranch potatoes. We started that recipe because a farmer called up and said, I have new potatoes. Do you want them? We said, we don't know what to do with new potatoes. So we came up with quartering them, putting carrots in them, putting some dry ranch dressing, a little bit of olive oil, and roasting them in the oven. The kids would rather have that than French fries. And okra and tomatoes. And there's that cold beet salad I didn't think was going to be a hit. The kids love it. So I like to say we are changing the way children eat, which should change their lives. And I know all of you believe that, or you wouldn't be in the profession. So I like to say we root for students, farmers, and the community. And I want to thank you for allowing me to come today to talk to this esteemed institution and to do this lecture for you guys. It's truly been an honor and a pleasure, and I thank you.
Thank you, Donna. That was fantastic. We have a few questions or a few minutes for a few questions, and we'll have a reception too over in Hoffman Lounge in Justin Hall too. Questions?
Yes.
I come from the restaurant side of things, and one of the guidelines that we're given as far as like where we source our food from is that we're supposed to source it from a reputable supplier.
Right.
How can we make sure that the farmers, ranchers, local people that we're working with are reputable suppliers?
And that's what we have, a checklist, and I'd be happy to send it to you. We go out to their farms and we inspect the farm to find out if they are reputable and what are their agriculture practices. And I would be happy, I'll give you one of my cards, and if you email me, I'll send you our checklist, and you just go out and visit the farm, and it clearly lists all the questions that you ask, and it'll be easy. Okay? Yes. Let me get some cards. Don't leave without a card.
Thanks for inspiring us. I'm a dietitian at a local hospital, And here's my farmer from Wednesday Market. So you're inspiring us how to do it. I work for Touchpoint, which is part of a campus group. And we are specific buyers only. So I would probably be a great idea if you can post the checklist of what to buy and what to get.
Yes, I'd be glad.
It sounds great. And
so I don't know if I can give it to Dr. Sauer and he can post it, some of these forms. Would that be okay? So I will send all the stuff to him and let him post it on the website. So we have all these checklists that we do. We have all our bidding documents.
Okay,
because
that would be perfect.
So the first year we had, just a handful of people that wanted to grow for us. Now we have 5 people that want to do sweet potatoes and 5 people that want to do collards. And so we have so much competition that they actually bid, and then we do the bidding now, and then they know what to plant and grow. So we don't allow them to plant and grow unless they know they're going to get the bid from us. Otherwise, so we do a forward contract with them.
Okay. So again, have you ever had any recall list? We have so many recalls that comes from everywhere, and we have this list that comes each time there is something that we have to remove from the hospital list. Have you ever had anything that you had to recall?
No, because it's local, and we know where it's coming from, and we do all this training with our farmers, so we've not had any recalls. We've had some product that's gone bad, and we've learned from it, and sometimes it's an expense for the farmers. Like we just recently had a problem with some of our peas that we had flies in our peas and we couldn't use them, and so I called the farmer and he agreed that the next time that he brought us product we could deduct the amount of the peas that we threw out from, so they work with us on it. They have been great about, I always get nervous calling them and saying, you gave us bad peas or you gave us bad squash or whatever. They want our business so bad that they're willing to correct it and take the loss. So no, we've not had any recalls.
We have a reception, so if there's more questions or comments, we can continue that in
But I know
Hoffman
there's one
Lounge.
question here. Didn't you have a question?
We don't hear so much of them talking about waste, kids throwing food.
Okay.
How did you deal with those?
That is a great question. I love that question. That's something I talked to Congress about. One of the things we do is we make sure we cut up all our fruits and vegetables, and we cut up our oranges, and we cut up our apples so they have enough time to eat it. But the main problem with waste is kids don't have enough time to eat. And let me tell you, eating a chef's salad takes a lot longer than eating a piece of pizza. And they'll rush them through and they have 5 minutes to eat lunch. And they cannot eat all this healthy food. We've doubled the amount of fruits and vegetables on their tray. It takes a lot longer to eat. The other thing is that they have recess after lunch a lot of times, and the kids don't want to eat. They want to race out and go to recess. So we are big on having recess before lunch. So the kids come in hungry and thirsty, and they want to eat, rather go outside and play kickball. So, and then the other thing is choices, offer versus serve. So our kids don't pick it up unless they're going to eat it. So sometimes their eyes are bigger than their stomachs, and I ask them, why did you? They said, I just got full. So I don't really think it's so much a waste if they don't like the food. It's time and choices. And how long would it take you to eat a whole orange? It'd probably take me 10 minutes. You don't have that kind of time, so we cut it up. Those kinds of things. So we're getting there with, I don't think that's as big a problem, but I think it's a time issue. All right, well, thank you. I will see you at the reception, and thank you.